And we are live. Good evening, crypto warriors, and welcome back to the Gem into Crypto episode 372. Today is Tuesday, April 2nd, and I am King. Bitcoin Zay is away on business, but of course we're bringing you that great cryptocurrency news today, of which includes Bitcoin going on its quote-unquote bull run now. $255 million. Coinbase has confirmed as being under its crypto insurance coverage. Ernst & Young has been arguing that crypto exchange Quadriga CX should be placed in bankruptcy. And last but not least, Bibox crypto exchange rolls out blockchain project Incubator. But first, give some shout outs. What's going on down in Muhammad? That's right. Smash that like and share. What's going on, Antonio from the UK? Hello, hello, hello. Yes, let's get this top article up again. People are going crazy. Everybody's saying Bitcoin's back on this bull run. I mean, literally, we've seen about, I think we're looking at about a 15% increase here in just a matter of a day. Honestly, a lot of that came in a matter of 30 minutes. Here, let me see if I can pull up another chart. No, CoinDesk had the percentage swings on there, but it's a good day in crypto. It's a good day in crypto. Yep, here we go. Let me pull it up on CoinDesk. As you can see in this right-hand corner over here, boom, 16% in a day, and honestly, a lot of that happened in 30 minutes. This is an industry where we continuously try to tell people all the time, don't let it lull you to sleep, because you can literally make, not you can, but most of the time you make 80% of your money 20% of the time. And this is literally, this isn't even one of those 20% of the times. You include all last year. This is less than 20% of the time. Where we see a 16% increase in that. Again, we see Ethereum's shot up 13%, Litecoin 21%, and Ripple at 10%. I think Ripple's at 0.30, 0.31 cent, some change. So again, I wouldn't say go crazy, start buying right now, because this is actually the normal crypto market. We normally see this is the laughing joke we were mentioning a couple weeks ago when every news article had something about the Bitcoin price is falling, even though it dropped like 0.5%. Oh, the price is on the bull run, went up 1.3%. We're like, no, that's not crypto. This is cryptocurrency. Daily 15 to 20% swings. And the reason why I say daily is because what happens in the next 24 hours to 48 hours is going to be a good indicator of where this price is going to go, or will it remain the same? Because like all big pumps, for whatever reason, who knows the reason for this one, but like all big pumps, there are dumps that follow. So we've been in this accumulation period now for the last few months. Prices stay the same, bouncing, teetering up and down between 37 to 4,200 here and there. So the C4800, huge swing again. 16% what we saw about 30 or 40 minutes today. But don't go crazy into the FOMO thing you have to buy. Hopefully by now you've already been at a price point where you can buy weekly or monthly and you feel comfortable at. Continue to do that, because tomorrow, with a 16% gain today, we don't know what we'll see. The market could react negatively or normally, as I would say, and we tomorrow literally see like a 10% dump or a 20% dump or 25% dump. Some people, you got to remember, they might have bought in at a place where they're just trying to get some of their money back and they're done with it. So again, next 24, 48 hours are going to be very interesting to see what is going on. Evan, I see you looking one time. I like that. I see you looking, said you actually go solo too. I thought Zay was on that bread. You got to go back into history. Honestly, I probably have more solo acts on here than Zay. All right, let's be fair here. Torrance J Playlist, what's going on? Ryan Cooper, what's going on? One whale bought it up, not hyping it, LOL. Exactly. This literally could have been the work of one big whale buying back in. Tonio's saying the same thing. A couple big buyers bought in at the same time to move the market. There we go. All right, hold on. For a lot of you, I know how new some of you are. Edwin IT is saying I'm by myself once. Listen, you all go back to last year when Zay was in North Carolina for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. All right, I did like 14 days alone. All right, stop it, stop playing. We balanced it out so we both can still handle business. But no, again, this is a big story today. And the reason why it's even a bigger story is not just because of the price swing. Again, we're going to see this, and a lot of people here watching actually didn't even come in until December of 2017, when Bitcoin is at its all-time high of 19,600, 20,000, 20 plus thousand, depending on where you were. A lot of people didn't enter the market until that time. And that's the only reason why some people are left, is because, they're saying, hey, I invested this much, I want to see what happens to it, I want to ride it out. So even to them, this isn't a big price swing. They understand that, but again, it's something that's worth mentioning. It's definitely worth paying attention to, and I think the next 24 or 40 hours will really determine where we go with this price. I know one of the things we discuss when it comes to in-house trading is now is actually the time. Not all altcoins, don't go crazy, but for a few altcoins here and there, now is the time to actually make that investment with your discretionary income. Again, we talk about the likes of Ripple, XRP. We're not huge fans of Ripple. We don't see the long-term use case, but we always talk about trading in the short term. CNBC pumped their little darling up to $3 at its all-time high. So for Ripple, again, to already honestly the price is already too high at 34 cents, because literally a year and a half, 2 years ago, Ripple was less than a penny. I think it was like 0.008 cent. So the price is already high if you've been in. But right now, looking from a trading perspective for the next big bull run and all that, Ripples, the Stellars, those are going to be some of the coins you're going to make a high return on, because CNBC is going to continue to pump them again. Because the last thing a major news organization wants to do is be wrong. So, I mean, you can mark this here, keep receipts. CNBC will have Ripple on again saying, we told you to keep investing in this thing. Even though we told you to buy at $3 and went back down, look at it now. It's back at $3.50. I think that will happen once that craziness kicks back in and all that FOMO. L1IT, I got you, man. But it'll be pretty cool to see. All right, another top story. $255 million. Coinbase confirms extent of crypto insurance coverage, or at least they partially confirmed the extent of it. It looks like Coinbase has revealed the details of insurance arrangements for cryptocurrency held on customers' behalf, a rare move in what's being called an opaque market. They published his blog post today. Philip Martin, the exchange vice president of security, confirmed that it is covered for up to $255 million for coins held in so-called hot wallets. Basically, that are some of the funds that held in about 2% of the wallets. They're saying the rest of the 98% is in cold storage. And of course, at the height of the crypto bull market in 2017, speaking of that, CoinDesk said that they had about, Coinbase said they had about $25 billion worth of assets stored on customers' behalf. So this is good news if it's true. The biggest thing about cryptocurrency, of course, is ownership. You own your private keys. If you don't have them, then someone else owns them. And we all know that people love to keep, their crypto on exchanges, especially if you trade during the day or daytime, 24/7. People love to keep it. Now, I have no clue. I kind of get it back at its peak when it was $25 billion worth of assets. Literally, I think Coinbase was signing up. They quoted 100,000 people a month or something crazy like that. But at this point, I think this $255 million number is even too high, especially if you're talking about only 2% of those customers' assets are in hot wallets. I don't understand why so many people are using Coinbase. The only thing I could literally think of is this is another government or another exchange or another big organization. I mean, we're talking some of these New York City regulated hedge funds using the likes of Coinbase, because I sincerely hope there aren't a lot of retail investors and mom and pop investors out there storing all their crypto on Coinbase. I mean, we've seen what they can do. We've seen what they're willing to do and what they would do. And at the end of the day, nothing is stopping Coinbase from having this $255 million in their crypto insurance coverage, or their $25 billion, or wherever that number is. Literally nothing is stopping them from having that number and then just saying, hey, we got a hat, or whatever, your money is going and starting. I mean, $25 billion. The government's going to get their piece and no one else is coming to collect. They can literally tie up civil lawsuits in court for the next 20 or 30 years with $25 billion. So that's kind of interesting to see. But again, I personally think it's from bigger organizations, a lot of hedge funds, because you remember I think in the year 2017, we had over 115 hedge funds enter the cryptocurrency space, the most at any time, the most ever, I guess, in the space. But a lot of those people in those funds had no clue what crypto was. They had no clue how to store it, secure it, trade it, none of those things. So, of course, they still wanted to, skin in the game, as you say. So they went over to Coinbase and of course Gemini. They said, hey, you all hold it, you all do the trading, whatever it is you do, we'll just give you the money that we're receiving from our investors. So more likely that's what's going on here at Coinbase. But it's something to pay attention to, because if Coinbase also has an article on CoinDesk talking about how much money it has in storage, you got their security person talking. This thing, at one point they had $25 billion. Coinbase is following the lead and bringing transparency and all this good news coming from them and their insurance coverage. Well, hackers read this stuff too, and there is nothing that hackers love more than a good challenge. So that's the other thing to worry about. When you have companies like this coming out saying, hey, we have this much in storage, we've done this great job, we're untouchable, we're the number one regulated one, you want to join us and all that. Hackers are just sitting by like, oh, really? So no one can hack into you, because to them that is the ultimate prize, to say, hey, I hacked into Coinbase's insurance coverage crypto account, and guess how much money I got of it. Like, this is their Super Bowl. So I think it invites unwanted attention, as we often see in the cryptocurrency space. But with that being said, Coinbase is definitely pulling in the money, and they're definitely hiring the right people to ensure it's protected. So more to come on that story. What's going on? Tommy Brown, Sergeant Crypto, or Rodney Fury said they're about to load up on Tezos. Hey, listen, Tezos has a long way to come back from the dark, but if they do, it would definitely be a high return. Are we taking turns? You know what? The business is just working like that. It's some days I have to be out. I actually will be out tomorrow as well. Bitcoin Zay will be back tomorrow. So yes, we have been taking turns this week. Next, actually, week and a half, we'll both be out and about, kind of going in and out. So it's been a little bit crazy. Edwin IT said, I already bent the knee to Coinbase. Forgive me, guys. There was once upon a time we bent the knee to Coinbase as well, Edwin. And to be fair, we actually never stopped bending the knee. Coinbase just kicked us out the kingdom about 2 or 3 different times for unknown reasons, and eventually we decided that this was not the place to have our business after the first couple of times. It's pretty interesting. Sergeant Crypto said Coinbase is having a live AMA right now. What should I ask? Ask them, when will they start offering support to cryptocurrency registered users on their platform? When will they offer support, actual human support, where you can make a phone call? That's a good question. I see you looking, said, I'm a rookie to this world. How do you know what coin to have? Is it primarily based on what's popular, where you plan to use it, or what wallet you have? Lots of homework. Hashtag overwhelming. Your coin, the coins you decide, it's kind of like we always talk about Warren Buffett, but we say it's invest in what you know type of deal. For one, we always say if you're just starting, work on acquiring 1 Bitcoin first. That is the granddaddy. Is there for a reason. It sways all the news for a reason. I mean, right now, Bitcoin hasn't had any real issues to make it stop working, which is why it's continuing to work and continue to get stronger. So we always say work on getting 1 full Bitcoin, and then after that, you can start looking into some of these other coins that may have actual real world utilities. We try to say make sure they actually already have a product out. Make sure you know the team already, or you can look at some information about their team. Make sure they haven't been scamming. And of course, if you're it depends on what you're doing. If you're considering investing long term, here, let me bring up this chat cam so people can see the question here. And this again is I see you looking, saying I'm a baby rookie to this. If you're talking about just from a purely investment point of view, then get your Bitcoins and Ethereums, get some of the top coins so you can sit back and not have to worry about trading. If you're joining this community to actually trade and stay on top of it, then it isn't a bad decision to trade on only what's popular, to trade on some of the coins that are popular. Now looking at the actual technical side of it, you need to understand that this coin probably doesn't do anything. It's going to die in the next 2 or 3 years or whatever, but for whatever reason right now it's popular. Yeah, you can trade off that, because human psychology is a huge part of trading. I mean, that's the cycle we've been going through now. We just hit a bear market. We've been going through the accumulation phase. While this isn't the bull market everyone wants to see, of course, when you have these large percentage swings like this, where you see a $800, in terms of USD growth in a matter of a day, or 15 or 16%, people are going to go crazy in FOMO, and that's based off of popularity. We saw that when Bitcoin price started hitting 10,000. Next thing you know, literally within 2 or 3 minutes, it blinked to 12,000. Blinked again, it was 14,000. Blinked again, it was 15. So when that happens as well, that is technically based off of popularity. That's human psychology, so that's not a bad way to trade. And that's even kind of referencing what I just said about Ripple, XRP. You know, we don't see a real world use case for it outside of institutions and banks long term. However, it is a very popular coin. They have a huge army behind them, and they made it to CNBC. You know, Brad Garlinghouse is doing all the right marketing moves behind it. So trading that based off popularity is not wrong, especially when you have your stop losses set. And then where do you plan to use it? What wallet do you have? Again, there's plenty of wallets. As of late, we've been saying that the Exodus desktop wallet is pretty good. And, of course, on your phone, you can use blockchain wallet as well as BRD wallet, which is really good as well. Ryan Cooper said, I'll take that Facebook coin, though. Perfect example. Even though when Facebook coin finally does get released, it's probably going to be an STO or whatever new creative buzzword they come out with. However, again, Facebook coin were to come out, I would not trust it for its long-term success. But in the short term, it would be like, of course, this would be a great coin to trade right now, just based off the notoriety of the name. Clarence Dennison said the Game of Thrones reference on this channel make me wonder. I can't remember how that actually started. I think it started. Bitcoin Zay is a fan of it. I've recently, like a month or so ago, binge watched the entire series because when I first saw an episode years ago, the one scene I saw, for lack of better terms, let's just say it wasn't for me to continue watching. But I was told that was an isolated incident. I binge watched it as of recently. Still not a huge fan of the show. I know some people are going to be like, what? It's crazy. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the show. But ever since then, everybody always talks about Midnight Knee. I think Bitcoin Zay brought it up, and here we are. I love that Midnight Knee because that is what our American government and banksters have us do on a daily basis. Donna Muhammad, speaking of which, says, banksters, I don't do banksters coin. Winter is coming. Do you all know when winter is coming? Winter is coming very shortly, either right before or as soon as we reach the year 2020 and the Bitcoin halving occurs. Once that halving occurs, literally winter will be here, because if you don't have crypto by that time, I mean, think about Bitcoin right now, and think about if the amount of Bitcoin you can make will be cut in half. That is what's happening next year. So this price, I think, just because of that event, is already going to increase. Like literally, unless we see more manipulation, even further regulatory disapproval of things. I mean, to the point where the FUD is just being pumped out on a daily basis, trying to drive the price down. Unless we see that same concerted effort, which I think a lot of the major players and institutions have already blew out their steam. Because think about it. When you hear Jamie Dimon say something negative about Bitcoin, no one's listening anymore. When you hear Warren Buffett, Bill Gates say something about negative about Bitcoin, no one's listening. So when I think the halving will happen, once that happens, or once that's getting closer toward the end of this year, these same people, these same government institutions and banksters, everybody's going to come out with that same veracity, but it just won't be weighted the same, because people have heard it. People are paying attention to Bitcoin now. And that is when crypto winter will hit, because then you will see that it is even harder to attain Bitcoin, and all of a sudden that price continues to go up. So we'll see. Crypto Wimp, great coin suggestion. BNB and ENJ have products and utility. Huge fan of BNB. We actually saw that one pretty early, and it's continued to chug along as well. The Litecoin halving this summer is playing a role right now. Very true as well. And Hero George is saying he's guessing 50K plus for Bitcoin. So we will see. Thank you for that, Edwin IT. He said the Midnight Knee happened. Oh, that is right. When Rebecca was on and the member said it sounds like Rebecca is saying Midnight Knee, then corrected herself and said government is saying Midnight Knee. Exactly. Pretty good. Thanks for bringing that up. Okay, more news about Quadriga CX. Again, we continue to cover this story because this is a top story, whether we like it or not, in the crypto space. Because everyone who's not into cryptocurrency, the only thing they hear are these big news where the headlines that say things like $150 million to $190 million missing from a cryptocurrency exchange. That gets anyone's interest peaked across the world. And again, we've covered this in depth, but we're going to continue to cover it because Ernst & Young is beginning to argue that crypto exchange Quadriga CX should be placed in bankruptcy. If you remember, Ernst & Young was one of the big four auditors that came in. I think the big four auditor that came in and audited Quadriga CX. One of the things we said as soon as we saw their name attached to the exchange is that any leftover money that Quadriga CX has will immediately go to Ernst & Young, because the leftover money they claim to have and our estimation did not cover the cost, the actual cost it costs to hire Ernest & Young to do their audit. And we were right, because literally I think like 2 or 3 days later, Ernest & Young came and basically was like, yeah, we're just going to collect and keep the rest of the funds left in the exchange account, which they did and is under their possession. But it looks like that isn't enough for Ernest & Young. One of the things I saw when I saw this headline before even reading the article, you know, a lot of people don't know the rules of bankruptcy, but bankruptcy is not a bad, like, it's not a terrible thing. It's not an end all be all. It's actually a really good thing if you have a lot of money, or, you know, you're deemed wealthy and all of a sudden you can't access that money for whatever reason. You know, it's basically clearing the books, allowing taxpayers to come in and pay for a lot of your mistakes, and allowing you to sell your leftover assets. And it looks like that is a similar plan of what Ernest & Young is trying to do with the now shuttered Canadian crypto exchange Quadriga CX. It wants it to be placed in bankruptcy instead of being restructured as part of an ongoing creditor protection proceedings. Again, I feel this way because a restructuring, again, the key word was the creditor protection proceedings. If they would have restructured it, basically, they would have, you know, at the end of the day, a lot of people who put their money in Quadriga CX would have had to get their money back somehow, some way, whoever did whatever with the company. By declaring it bankruptcy, bankrupt, to my understanding, it looks as though they'll basically be able to say that, hey, not only don't we have anything these people are asking, of course we're insolvent. You can see here they wanted to shift to this alternative process under the Bankruptcy and Insolvency Act. The authors propose, given the present circumstances, the possibility that Quadriga will restructure and emerge from CCAA protection appears remote. The ongoing investigation to locate and recover assets for distribution to creditors with the intent of optimizing recoveries where the applicant's stakeholders can be efficiently administered in a proceeding under the BIA. So again, you got to think of it this way. As most of the businesses we talk about, Ernest & Young is a private company. None of their moves that they are doing is for the end user, the investor in Quadriga CX. No, this is about Ernest & Young already taking on a corporation or taking on a business, saying that they already don't have enough money to pay us. We know it's $150 million out there missing that someone in this organization knows how to get to. Oh, and by the way, we have these creditors trying to get money. Like, no, as a business, the creditors, you guys are done already. We're going to give you either nothing or the least amount we could possibly give you. When you're talking about these big businesses like Ernest & Young, they don't climb the ladder to become a top 4 auditing company worth billions of dollars because they made sure they took care of all their investors or all the people that were damaged, all the victims from these exchanges and proceedings like this. No, they become it by cutting the fat and keeping as much as they can. And to me, it looks like that's what they're doing. They're saying that the benefits of shifting to proceedings under the BIA, this report argues, include the fact that bankruptcy would, quote, allow for the potential sale of assets, including but not limited to Quadriga's operating platform, as well as streaming administrative burdens and cutting procedural costs. And they're saying BIA would provide EY, Ernest & Young, with enhanced investigative powers in his prospective role as trustee in bankruptcy for the exchange. Again, key words here. Streamlining administrative burdens and cutting procedural costs, saving money. I just basically said that a different way. Sale of assets. At the end of the day, not a lot of people know what a crypto exchange is, how to operate one, but again, we say that is a way for millionaires to get even richer, billionaires to get even richer, to do a stable coin or to actually do an entire exchange. So if they have the exchange set up and the infrastructure is there, even with the hack, we talk about the rebranding, I can see them wanting to just own Quadriga CX outright by making it bankrupt or insolvent, owning it, and then selling it as assets, is actually selling the entire exchange, getting some of that money back, even though you're not going to sell for $150 million. I mean, but then again, we just saw Poloniex go for $300 million. I don't know how that happened. And again, the enhanced investigative powers right here. Again, those enhanced investigative powers basically allow them to access more accounts, access more passwords on the exchange. So if there is money hidden anywhere, or anyone has it, they will be able to get their hands on it. Again, this entire story is about $150 to $190 million missing. Nothing more, nothing less. You should be suspicious of every actor that comes along saying it can solve this issue that isn't one of the initial investors, because they are out for some of that money, and it makes sense. But again, definitely wanted to keep everyone updated on what is going on there. Let's see. Clarence said there's nothing they can do to Bitcoin or any proof of work tokens. They can manipulate everything else, though. Exactly, that's crazy. Ryan Cooper said, what are your thoughts on using TurboTax self-employed software to do my crypto taxes? I would say consult with another tax professional. I can't think of the name right now. I will get the name later, but I am reading a book right now, which I can't remember who suggested it either, but it is an amazing book. It goes along. It's an amazing book. It goes along with what we're doing in cryptocurrency. I'm actually disturbed. I can't remember his name. I have his name for you in a couple of days of this book. But they're basically it basically talks about, it's supposed to be a fictional book. Kind of reads like a little bit nonfiction. They have this thing called the Badlands, which is basically the dark web. And they're basically scurrying around cryptocurrency, the dark web, and basically living outside the government. And one of the things, and the reason why I bring this up is Ryan Cooper is asking about, if he files with TurboTax, what does he think? Well, one of the things that I saw in the book was how when gold was the main thing, when people were using gold to skirt around the U.S. dollar, they basically started keeping track of everyone in the United States who had gold. Of course, they taxed that gold to say, hey, capital gains tax, they gave you the worst tax you can. And then when the nation was running out of money, instead of the nation, of course, making smart business moves, they started buying back up all the gold. And then they had a list of everyone in the United States whose name was on this gold list, and they made it a felony to sell their gold to anyone outside the United States. They made it a felony to move their gold. They made it a felony to do anything basically with their gold except sell it back to the government at market price. And oh, by the way, before that market price was set by the government made sure it did the right fiscal moves to drive down the gold market, so they would be buying it back at the lowest price possible, have it in storage so they can sell it back. Again, loosely, but it is kind of right what's going on. So when you look at that when it comes to Bitcoin and taxes and all that, my belief is that, yes, the government is keeping track of everyone who owns Bitcoin, especially doing it through taxes. And then, of course, once you enter that system, you are officially in that system. So the day ever does come where everything we say about Bitcoin is right and governments actually use it to back it, they now have your name on this paper that says you own Bitcoin, you know about the crypto market, and it will be a felony for you to do anything with your Bitcoin but sell it back to the government at its market price. And oh, if that market price happens to be $1,300 that week, well, guess what? You need to sell it back at $1,300. So that is my thought on the TurboTax and crypto taxes in general. However, you got to file a law, so consult with a professional. Can I speak on Dawn Dixon and what she is doing? Chad, I need more information on that, please. Harold George said data is the new gold and everybody's trying to get theirs. Exactly. Hey, Edwin IT has been around the show for a long time. Pardon me, Edwin. And last but not least, Bibox crypto exchange rolls out blockchain project Incubator. Now I really like this, not just because of what it is, but because of Bibox. I know a lot of you haven't heard of it. I've actually mentioned it on the show, I think twice, in just some random exchange, or wherever we talk about exchange, and when we say we talk about dumpster diving, I mentioned Bibox. Bibox is a Chinese exchange, and using the Google Chrome browser, I know for sure, they can actually translate, everything on the page for you. So you can use exchange. I believe it's not available to American customers, so I won't say I've used it. I say I've been on the platform to take a look at it. I think the last time I was on there probably was about 6 months ago. But I do remember when I was on it, it was a great place to dumpster dive. Again, it's a Chinese exchange. You hear and see about coins again. I mean, it's thousands of coins now. I remember the good old days when we had 300 or 400 coins, right? No, it's like 2,200 plus coins now. It's crazy. But kind of with one of those questions we were asked earlier about which coins do you pick. Dumpster diving is a part of trading. Once they do all your money, but 2 to 5% of your funds, if you use that on those exchanges like Cryptopia pre-hack or things even like Bibox, you can find some coins you've never heard of. You can find some projects you've never heard of. And again, it's about you doing your due diligence, which is where cryptocurrency comes out, where people are reading 40 plus hours a week to make sure they're not making bad investment. But yeah, you can go in there, you can take a peek at some things. And honestly, it's a decent exchange. I'm not going to say it's a great exchange or anything like that. It's a decent exchange to find some of those crap coins you usually wouldn't see. But again, it depends on what country you're located. But speaking about them leading cryptocurrency, they call everything leading cryptocurrency exchange. That's pretty funny. If you have an exchange and you make it a coin telegraph, you're probably a leading one. But they're launching an incubator for blockchain projects called Bibox Orbit, according to an announcement published on March 30th. Estonia-based Bibox. I didn't know it was Estonia-based. Again, it's in Chinese right at halftime. The ninth largest cryptocurrency exchange in terms of adjusted trading value has revealed that it's rolling out Bibox Orbit, an incubator for blockchain projects. The announcement does not specify the exact day of the project launch. It only says that it is aimed at to provide the best growing environment for high potential blockchain projects and assist them with ecological construction and long-term development. Again, this story actually mentions Binance and Binance Labs. We're going to see this. This is going to be a big industry. We're going to see this coming out of Silicon Valley as well. And if New York is smart, we'll see it coming out of there. And if Washington, D.C. was smart, which we know they're not, they would actually do it themselves. And that's incubators. What's the next? Like once you have a little bit of working capital, and maybe you're running out of ideals, or you don't want to pursue and execute new ideals, what's the best way to continue to invest that money if you don't want to invest it directly into tokens and coins? You invest into the entire project team itself. That's what incubators do. I mean, that's how Airbnb was born. I believe Uber may have came from one as well. But you literally just have a company. Coinbase is starting to do it now a little bit on low too. They're making it a lot bigger. But you have these companies that made their money. Bibox clearly made a little bit of money. And they're saying, hey, we'll start these project incubators to get people who are software engineers, or blockchain engineers, or whatever, into the design space. They'll tell us what they're looking for, and we will help them not only create their project, but scale their business so we can all make money. That is a beautiful idea. That's something that Zay and I definitely get behind, because that's something we enjoy doing ourselves and enjoy seeing ourselves. But it's nothing better than that. And it looks like Bibox is the next one up, this blockchain project incubator. So we'll see what happens. Oh, Chad, I did not see it. Dawn Dixon was on the Breakfast Club talking about ICOs versus STOs. I did not see it, but I'm going to have to check it out. But yeah, so it looks like this will be coming hopefully sooner rather than later. Again, we talked about Binance Labs already doing it. They released their first batch of blockchain projects from the incubation program following a trial tour with over 500 applicants. Binance Labs selected only 8 projects, each of which received $500,000 in seed funding and access to necessary resources and mentors. This is huge, people. Bibox can follow anything like this. I mean, you talk about 8 projects, $500,000 per project. Again, here's $4 million in seed funding. And again, this is Binance. This is people who are shaping the way in the industry right now. You might be able to get CZ on the. I mean, I would love to have CZ on the phone for 5 or 10 minutes just to tell me his thoughts or whatever, right? And you have his team and him on the phone or maybe in person, as well as all their resources, because again, if they're giving you $500,000, they want to make a lot of that back, because they don't have to give that out. They can just reinvest into the space. So I can only imagine the 8 projects they selected. They are aiming for home runs for each of them. Honestly, with $500,000 a piece, and in this industry, you only need one of the 8 to do well. Like literally, you have one of those 8 do well. A good project in cryptocurrency is going to make well over $4 million. All right, that is easy. We're talking about the entire planet investing in these things. So I think that's pretty cool to see. Again, I can't wait to see what Bibox does and you know what their funding will be. I assume it's going to be smaller than that 500,000. I wouldn't be surprised if it was anything between maybe 50 to 100,000 max per project. But with that being said, I would like to see them do maybe 10 to 12 projects versus the 8. But it all remains to be seen. Again, pretty cool story, and a shout out to Bibox, if I'm pronouncing that wrong, for them to continue. Let's see, go some more of these comments. What's going on, Richard from Australia? What part of Australia are you in, Richard? Ryan Cooper said about to check that out. Crypto Blood, what is going on? Let's ask Crypto Blood. Crypto Blood's in the house, people. If you haven't watched his channel, make sure you go ahead and go to YouTube right after this, as I am. Go to Crypto Blood's channel. Make sure you subscribe. He has great crypto news as well as traditional investment news, as he used to trade all types of stuff, including Forex. And we know how that relates to this market. But Crypto Blood, while you're here, if you're still here, Can you tell us anything about Don Dixon with the Breakfast Club interview and it came to ICOs and STOs? I would love to hear about that. So, PFC Wells. Oh, man, I guess I haven't done a solo in a while. You're the third person to say something. All right, I got to jump in on more solos. And while we're waiting briefly before I end, I will look for this story between the ICO tokens and the STO and the Breakfast Club so everybody can kind of see what they're referencing. And while I'm doing that, for the free cryptic coin today, let's see, we will be talking about, what have we talked about today? For the free cryptic coin today, we will discuss, there we go, Bitcoin price. We used to do these back in the day, and since we give out the cryptic coin on Friday already, for the free cryptic coin, go ahead, and you need to do this by tomorrow morning. Give us what you think the price of Bitcoin will be this time on Friday. Friday, or we'll say Friday at 12 noon. That way it gives us some time before we log on and do the show. What will be the price of Bitcoin at Friday at 12 noon? Again, you put that in the comment section after the video with your cryptic coin address. You can see the cryptic coin video on our station if you don't already have it. The wallet for it, and you put that down and we'll give you some free cryptic coin. And as we see this bull market possibly start to emerge, things like those cryptic coins would possibly be worth something one day. Oh, there we go. Crypto Blood responded. He said, yeah, I actually met her down at the NOLA Power Moves conference a few years ago. All right, so we definitely got to check out that interview. I can't see it. What's going on? Trust True. And I see you looking, said, totally different. I see Chris White shirt. That's right. This is actually one of our old Dinosaur of the Day shirts. It was too low to see. But our old Bitcoin Dinosaur of the Day shirt, decided to wear that today as all my white shirts are in dry cleaning. So there you have it. And I can't see the Breakfast Club interview right now. But again, I will make sure to check that out and see a little bit more information on it. Other than that, as always, thank you for watching. You all have a happy Tuesday. And again, Bitcoin's Day will be here tomorrow to check you out. And then hopefully we'll both be back in the same room on Thursday. And last but not least, Crypto Blood says she was a part of the black tech startup scene back then with us. Check out the video I did with Eden GeoPower a couple days ago, people. There we go. Eden from GeoPower on Crypto Blood's channel. They're doing the STO. It'll be interesting to see it. All right, folks. It's been a great show. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the continued support. Make sure you smash that like and share button. If you haven't noticed, we're on show 372, people. That is literally a show for every day of the year, of 1 year so far. So we're going to continue this thing pumping, and we will see you all tomorrow. Cheers.